Shut up and sit down.
You're listening to the Cheaters Never Pin podcast, a proud part of the Section 328 family. Follow us on Twitter at CheatersInVRPin. Now, live from ringside, it's Mr. Workrate and JC. Well, everybody, welcome back. Welcome to the number one podcast in my mom's SUV, Cheaters Never Pin.
I don't think my mom listens.
I'm JC. Next to me here at the commentary table, my good buddy, Mr. Workrate, Tom.
It's good to hear your voice again.
It is. It's been a long week. Have I even I've texted you this week.
Yeah. We weren't supposed to work together, but we could have worked together, but you weren't working that day. So
that's true. Tomorrow, though.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
So we can do the live version.
Yep.
If you happen, we'll be together if you happen to see us in person. You can.
We'll make it a scavenger hunt.
Yeah.
Come find us. We're not going to give you any other details other than we're going to be at work together.
Yep.
Yeah, this is the Cheaters Never Pin podcast. We're here to talk pro wrestling.
Yeah, I wasn't sure where you were going with that, but
I don't know where I was going either. I was getting ready to start me introducing us over again, and then realized I'd already done it.
So, how much alcohol have we consumed so far?
I've had none.
Maybe that's the problem.
Maybe it is. But you know what's not a problem? Going to facebook.com/cheatersneverpin and liking us.
That big blue thumbs up.
Yep. Also, if you go to the Twitter machine and you go to @CheatersInVRPin, follow us there. We have wrestling things we say on there.
Yeah, and I mean, JC's mainly the one that does like the live commentary during Raw and SmackDown and events like that. I try to do that type of stuff, but I'm usually just tweeting from my own account, so.
I retweet Tom when he's actually funny.
Which isn't that often.
You can also... I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah, please do.
You can also... you're listening to this podcast, so we thank you for that. But if you go to iTunes and rate us and give us 5 stars, please and thank you. Be our Meltzer. Give us 5 stars. But rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, SoundCloud, YouTube, and Spreaker. Boom.
We got that out of the way.
And we have a little bit to talk about tonight. We'll talk about Raw being a complete disaster since Strowman's injured.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Titus O'Neil getting sued.
Because, his life is just going so well lately.
Right. We're going to talk about tournaments in wrestling. Because there's a lot of them coming up in starting next week. It's summer, so there's tournaments. We got the 10 count, which will be fun. A lot of news there. And then we have our favorite bit, the match exchange.
Yeah, getting a lot of positive feedback on that. And if you guys ever want to slide into our DMs and give us suggestions for us to give each other for match recommendations, feel free to do that.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I'm not going to listen to them, but, I appreciate the feedback.
All right, Tom, let's talk about Raw.
I guess we have to.
Which, to me, to me this week was just complete. I knew part of what happened because I did look at the spoilers, but it was real boring and not a lot happened, which they're a ways away from Extreme Rules, so no big deal. But I don't think they know what they're doing since Braun Strowman is going out to have elbow surgery. And I think that's what stalled him.
Yeah, they kind of had to make an excuse to get Braun off of TV for a period of time, and it's a difficult thing to do. And I don't know. It's a little questionable to me for them doing it in the way that they've done it, in the sense that you had Braun Strowman, who's this, unstoppable force pretty much that seems like unbeatable and unstoppable, having regained that finally after having put over Roman Reigns once already. But got the momentum back and was safely sitting on top, it seemed. And he gets this injury, and we're like, okay, well, we got to take him off TV for X period of time. But you kind of give him the injury angle instead of, I don't know. In the old days, I think we would have more had some kind of suspension or something like that. Because here's this monster who's been destroying people and things and everything like that. Maybe we need to step in. Maybe he puts his hands on the wrong person. God forbid he touches a McMahon or something like that. And it's like, okay, you're suspended indefinitely, and then kind of write it off from there and allow him to heal that way and still have his heat, instead of, I don't know, getting re-injured and losing his heat as a result of that. I don't know. As usual, I would have done it differently, but
yeah, I don't know if there was a great way for them to handle it at all, because it was so sudden, and so much of the top of the card right now is booked around him. I mean, you have to assume, with Lesnar's first defense being at WWE Great Balls of Fire, that was going to be Strowman's chance at the title. So that's out the window. So now we have to get someone else ready. I don't know if you just throw Roman into that position again, because I'm sure you were saving that for SummerSlam and or WrestleMania, since that seems to be the big rumors. That's the main event of WrestleMania in New Orleans next year. Yeah, again, woo. But I think I think they got to get back stateside.
Steakhouse.
Yes. And figure out what they're doing, because for once they actually did some long-term booking. Bit them in the ass.
Well, the thing with long-term booking too is that if you're going to do long-term, you got to have backups.
Yep.
And that's, I don't know if it's a thing that they haven't been doing long-term that much, so writers don't necessarily plan for that type of thing. But yeah, when you put all your eggs in one basket, it's going to bite you in the ass almost more times than not. So, and that's what ended up happening here. Luckily, it's a 6 to 8 week thing instead of a Seth Rollins like 9 months, but still.
Well, I've seen this story floated that there's a potential when they get in there, they may find out they need to do Tommy John surgery on him, which would that's a year.
That's going to take him out of the rotation.
Yeah. But I don't know. I don't know what they do. I mean, the option is Roman. That is it. Right?
Yeah. I mean, who's at the top of I mean, you've got Seth Rollins, who's been kind of floundering around at this point. You've got, I mean, who else is kind of at the top at this point?
There's no one else. They haven't, Seth Rollins is essentially high mid-card right now. Locked in this feud with Joe. God, yeah, there's nobody. I'm trying to think of the top of Raw.
Dean's locked down. He's got the belt, and he's dealing with
The Miz again, which is what they both needed to go through the Superstar shakeup to freshen up the brands, and they're feuding each other.
Right.
I mean, you could put Finn in that position. I mean, but Finn's going to be in this Bray feud, which they've never really started. I mean, other than the number one contender triple threat, where Bray interfered and pushed him off, but they haven't really done any follow up with that. So you could put Finn in that position to just bide time.
Or you kind of like thread it in there and give Finn the kind of number one contender thing, but I mean, in order to, I don't know, keep him from being successful immediately or whatever, kind of work a angle with him and Bray Wyatt, and that's it. Well, it's tough too because you're not going for a title.
Well, yeah. Well, this would be the top of the card. Who's gonna make the push to face Lesnar at WWE Great Balls of Fire?
Lesnar is actually going to be at Great Balls of Fire. Okay,
correct. Yeah, he is confirmed for that event.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know if you end up.
You could put Wyatt there. I mean, you could.
And have him put over Lesnar in 3 minutes.
Right. I mean, they have a lot of options. None of them are good. Because no one, as is the case with 50-50 booking, no one's been built to a point where they're a believable number one contender right now.
And I don't want to put Finn against Lesnar right now. It just...
No, I don't either.
It's not going to click. You don't have his... The thing with Lesnar, and especially if you're going to have Lesnar versus Finn, you have to have Finn take a lot of damage and then still manage to work his way to be a believable, competitor in the sense that, he'll take the damage, but he'll get out of the counts and kind of work his way into actually, being a legitimate contender that way. And we don't have, Finn needs to get the momentum going again. He's just come back. He hasn't had too many matches back, so he kind of needs to get the exposure again, to be seen by the crowd and to have the entrance. They're popping for the entrance, but you got to get them behind him as a package so far. And it's going to take a little bit more to get back to that point.
Yeah. And leaving him in the Bray feud for the short term is the correct decision to do that. Because it's Bray Wyatt, he's going to lose. So you're going to put Finn over. And
I read somewhere that Bray Wyatt has a worse win-loss percentage than Titus O'Neil at this point.
Oh, God. That doesn't surprise me. But, yeah. So I have no clue what's going to happen. I guess we'll just have to wait and see on Monday. Because I said, they have a lot of options, but none of, I don't know. I honestly can't tell you what I want to see, because I was really set on Strowman Lesnar. I was real excited for that.
What's kind of cool though is that when you have situations like this where there isn't a clear-cut number one or a clear-cut path, that's when the weird kind of cool stuff starts to happen. That's like when Bryan started to get the big push, and I can't think of other examples right now, but it allows those mid-card guys or guys that didn't necessarily get the exposure up top to the writers turn around and go, well, screw it, let's try this, or let's listen to the crowd and see what happens, and then that's how you end up having a Breezango tag title match.
Which is the best thing going on SmackDown right now.
Absolutely.
This just occurred to me, going back to Finn. They could put him in that position very easily, since he has a claim to get a match since he never lost the title. And you build to that. So you build Extreme Rules can be him and Wyatt, whatever. Great Balls of Fire, he challenges Lesnar. Just a quick build, 1 month. But he doesn't lose the match clean. He loses because Wyatt interferes and takes him out because Finn wins at Extreme Rules and Wyatt's still pissed. Then you've already booked a match for SummerSlam that way. I don't know. That just came to me. But that's logical 3 months of storytelling. It works.
So we won't do that at all.
No. So do not expect it. We already kind of touched on this too, but at least the Miz and Ambrose are fighting again.
Yeah.
Wasn't the point of the shakeup to move people around so we'd have new things to do? I may have misinterpreted it. But
the point of the shakeup was to get Jinder Mahal a title shot.
oh God, Jesus! Notice SmackDown is nowhere on the rundown this week.
Breezango.
We can talk about that. That's okay. The best thing on each show right now is the tag division, which is shocking because the Hardy Boys, Cesaro, Sheamus stuff has been very good. I've enjoyed that, especially after Tag Team Turmoil on Monday. They've told each one of those. I'd heard somebody made the point in some podcast I listened to. I don't remember what it was today. But, each of the Hardy Boys, Cesaro, Sheamus matches have told a nice self-contained story. And it's built the major storyline. And now you've got, Monday night, the Hardy Boys come out after they win. It works. It's a simple wrestling story, and it works. But it's not as good as the Fashion Police and those segments.
And
it's Tyler Breeze and Fandango. Come on. It's amazing.
Yeah, getting free reign, so let them go. I just wanted to touch on the tag team turmoil thing because part of me was a little bit annoyed that Cesaro and Sheamus just kind of blew through the whole tag division. Like, okay, I guess there's only 2 tag teams here. But, and I had seen it mentioned somewhere else, Goldust and R-Truth looked pretty damn good.
Yeah.
For a tag team with a total combined age of over 90.
That was the first match they'd lost this year. In calendar year 2017, that is the first match they have lost.
And
Weird.
And they're entertaining enough, and I think that gets lost a lot of times. And that, and you can see it from on the other side, Breezango finally kind of getting this shot, but like with Golden Truth on one side and Breezango on the other side, here's like that kind of like fan favorite, goofy kind of tag team that, well, if you got nothing else going, why not? And you could actually tell a little bit of a story with Truth and Goldust, just in the sense that, here are these guys kind of nearing the end of their careers and that type of thing, but, maybe one last run, one last shot. So, but, it's not their time right now, but it was nice to see them out there and kind of getting some near falls, and the drama was actually there. It looked like from a couple of times that they'd actually go over.
Yeah.
And,
they're both
I never
really
would have said that.
Yeah. They're both really likable characters. They're both incredibly talented in the ring, even for their age. Goldust and Randy Orton have the best scoop power slams in the business. On any given week, one could be better than the other. So, I don't know. I enjoyed it. Tag Team Turmoil was great. And I like that they told the story even though Cesaro and Sheamus went over. I like that they built somebody else up in the process.
Yeah.
For once. It wasn't just, let's build up what the team is going to win. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what the future holds. I think everything's, I don't know. It wasn't a terrible Raw. Whatever.
It was uneventful. It was there.
Yeah.
And it's slowly becoming not must-see television.
Right. And hopefully that changes on Monday. SmackDown was very much the same. I can't even tell you what happened on SmackDown. I can't even remember. The Fashion Police skit is the only thing I can think of that happened. and they wrestled the Ascension. Nakamura confronted Ziggler. There was a 6-man tag match where Jinder pinned Randy in order to get some heat on Jinder.
Right.
The end.
Because no one believes Jinder's actually going to take the title.
He is, though. I guess we'll talk about that next week, won't we?
I think the general fan, the smarter mark that you are, I think, the more that you're kind of looking into it and going, oh, I could see Jinder going over because of India and that. But I think for the most part, the general fan base doesn't buy Jinder as a legitimate contender.
No, I don't. And my issue is I've let Meltzer get in my head, man. Keep hearing him say it. He's just like eating my brain. I don't know. Don't know why I listen to him. I don't know why I give him $11 a month, Tom.
Because he's been the source for so long.
I don't care. He's the one that needs to be on the wellness policy. Wearing his, like, bedazzled fucking jeans and tight t-shirts and going to PWG. Ugh.
You're just jealous he gets to go to PWG.
I'm not. I'd hate it there. There's no air conditioning. It's like 95 degrees. I want to be comfortable. I would enjoy it for what it is, but I'd hate being there.
You would have hated the bingo hall so much.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
No AC and Philadelphia fans.
Oh, God. Sounds terrible. I mean, I could get like a little personal fan and take it. Like, you know, one of those like little spray bottle fans with the little foam blades.
Well, in ECW, that would have been used as a weapon by New Jack.
Fans bring the weapons. That would have been great. Where could I get? Whoop.
I was going to
finish your thought, then I'll go into the ad read.
No, I was going to do the New Jack impression, but I probably shouldn't.
Oh, do it, please. Now I want to hear it. I honestly didn't know you had one until just now.
New Jack impressions are pretty much just F-bombs at the end. So it'd just be like, thank you for your fan, motherfucker. That's pretty much accurate. New Jack.
I'm sure that was his audition too when he went to that movie audition and Beyond the Mat. I smell a skit. What did he read? What was New Jack's movie audition? That's the first comedy skit coming to our YouTube channel.
I still remember, and I may have to dig through the old ECW TV shows where the gangsters when ECW had their at the tail end of the shows when Heyman needed like 8 minutes to fill, they would just do like the Dick Dale surf music in the background, and they just do like these little 30-second, 1 minute little skits for wrestlers, and they just like skip to the next thing. And they had the gangsters talk, and New Jack starts, for whatever reason, shooting on Jim Cornette.
What? And
New Jack's like legitimately pissed off, and Mustafa's like next to him, and I think he's going like, yeah, boy, like, what the hell?
Okay, we have to find that.
Yeah, I'll do some work tomorrow and see if I can find it.
Okay, I'm gonna start the ad read over.
Okay, should I have mentioned something to segue in?
No, I was going back to. So, Tom, if I needed a little spray bottle with a fan on it,
or if New Jack needed one,
yeah, if he needed one, if I needed like a lot of them, yeah, to take to ECW, where should I get them, Tom?
Well, I guess you could make them with your bare hands, but that would be,
I could, but I'm not a carpenter, Tom.
Yeah, and that's
I also don't know why a carpenter's making a fan with foam blades now that I said that out loud.
Making the bottle it's probably not a good idea. You should probably just go to, I don't know, some kind of internet commerce place.
Ooh, you mean like Amazon.com?
That'd probably be a good one.
Ooh, if I did it through Amazon.com, how would I get to it though? That's the real question.
So, I mean, most people would say, oh, go to Amazon.com, but no. Because what you can do is instead go to cheatersneverpin.com, which, we appreciate because we do occasionally write some stuff for the website too.
Every once in a while.
Every once in a while. But when you go to cheatersneverpin.com, there's a large button there that says Amazon.com. And if you click on that button, it takes you to Amazon.com.
Ooh.
And there's no difference in the Amazon.com website. It looks just the same as it would before. You do your shopping as normal. You buy your spray bottles or your bulk wooden products or Uncrustables if you want to.
There you go.
And you make your purchase as normal, and it costs the same as it normally would. But the only difference is that while your cost remains the same, Amazon kicks a few shekels over to the Cheaters Never Pin staff.
Ooh.
It probably won't be that much, but anything is larger than zero. So,
are you telling me I shouldn't quit my job because of this?
I wouldn't recommend it. No.
I need to go undo that email. Excuse me while you finish this.
So just go to cheatersneverpin.com, click on the Amazon.com button, and shop as you normally would. Again, it doesn't cost you anything, and it gets us a little tiny bit of referral cash if you buy something. If you just go there and you buy nothing, it doesn't really help us. But
fuck you.
You can always find something on Amazon. Buy another Xbox remote.
There you
or
go.
a keypad. I did both those things. I bought an Xbox remote and a keypad the other day.
With
So
the chat pad with the letters and stuff.
yeah,
I love that thing. I love mine. But this isn't the number one most listened to Xbox podcast in my mom's SUV. It's wrestling, so let's get back to wrestling.
okay,
Right. Good segue.
yeah.
Did we... Maybe somebody mentioned Titus. We mentioned Titus when we said he had more wins than Bray. That's right.
Yes.
Titus...
There was a segue opportunity right there. But
There was. We were trying to stick with the rundown, though.
yeah.
We had good intentions. I'm gonna read the story word for word from F4WOnline.com because otherwise I know I'm going to mess something up.
Like Titus would if he was reading it.
He got a lawsuit thing. That's how Kalisto would read this. Thaddeus Bullard, who works as Titus O'Neil in WWE, had a lawsuit filed against him in Los Angeles County Superior Court stemming from an incident filming the WWE Network show Swerved.
Wait a second. His name is Thaddeus Bullard?
Yeah, I learned something today.
And he's going by Titus. Why does he not go by Thaddeus Bullard?
I don't know.
That's a much better name than Titus O'Neil, but I guess Vince needs to own it. But
right.
Anyway, sorry.
Donald Anderson, which is not a great wrestler name, who worked on the show as a cameraman, claimed the incident took place on May 18th, 2015, and is suing for more than $1.2 million in damages. According to his complaint, Bullard, or Titus O'Neil, was zapped with an electric shock as part of the show, which my assumption is that this is the scene where they were sitting on the stools and they were shocking people. That's the only time they've shocked people that we've seen, at least. So that's my thought. Anderson claimed that when that happened, Bullard kicked the camera out of his hands, causing serious injury to his hand, fingers, and wrist. Anderson said that when it happened, he was told to leave the premises immediately for fear of further attacks. Titus has made no comment. The end.
He worked himself into a shoot, brother.
Much love, HH. But, yeah, weird, right?
I think there was another segment, and I don't remember, and I've actually seen most of the Swerved episodes because my kids like them.
I weirdly enjoy them.
But there was supposedly one where, like, Paige had, like, a cattle prod type thing. I don't know. The Mountie was not involved. But
oh, yeah. I somewhat remember that now that you said it. I
so
forgot she existed, but so is everybody else.
But I think that's the thing that I've seen. It was likely the cause. I mean, we never saw anything with Titus, connected with it, anything with Titus actually being shocked or anything like that on the show. Because obviously, if he acted like pissed off and like hit a camera, they're probably not going to like put that on until eventually he gets settled out of court, and then they'll put it on like that Jerry Springer Too Hot for TV thing.
Right.
But
I just thought this was a really weird story.
well, it's funny in that like the first season of Swerved was just pretty much like the wrestlers playing pranks on each other, and like Kofi and Xavier getting like pissed off at each other, and apparently a lot of the wrestlers hated it. So in the second season, they kind of switched it up and had wrestlers like pranking fans and, you know, like making kids cry and that type of thing. And I think honestly that works better, just because, I mean, and it goes both ways with mixed results. Like you get some things that work, like when Miz is trying to like, there's an episode where Miz supposedly gets kicked out or fired or something like that, and they've got this guy working the back door for security or whatever, and Miz keeps trying to go back in, and the guy is like trying to tell him not to, and Miz keeps coming with like bad disguises each time, like pretty much gives the guy a hard time. So it's like, you know, you have that's entertaining, and then you have stuff like Vince McMahon puts on a fake nose and pretends to be like a bad security guard, and everybody kind of has to go along with it because Vince decided he'd wanted to be part of the show. But it was always a hit and miss show, but a lot of hidden camera type stuff is like that. So
yeah, it's fine if you have literally nothing better to watch. It's all right.
And I mean, I think that's one of the things with the network too, is just, you know, get content, because I've gone, you go on there a lot, and like with each month, supposedly they release new content, and like this month it's a whole bunch of like old primetime wrestling, which is, you know, kind of cool a little bit, but just for some of the skits, like just seeing classic Monsoon Heenan stuff is just kind of cool. But like the original shows, like Ride Along went along for a little bit. Now there's no Ride Alongs. The animated one where the story time was like 11 minutes long. They did 5 of those, and that's done. Camp WWE they plugged and did like 6 episodes of that, and that's done. And just everything that they've done, they do like 5 episodes of, and then it's over.
Yeah, I really enjoy Ride Along.
Yeah,
that's fun. I would really like to see the other half of the season of Camp WWE that's supposedly in the can, because I enjoyed that. I thought it was funny.
It took a little bit, and then yeah, I mean,
whenever you get Ric Flair having sex with a bear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the bear feeling shame.
Hey, everybody's got to take a ride on Space Mountain.
Yeah.
At least we get Edge and Christian season 2 soon. They've been filming that.
My kids have been asking me practically daily when that's coming.
I enjoy the hell out of that show.
Yeah, it's the best thing on the network.
I would love another season of Breaking Ground, because that's between Breaking Ground and WWE 24, which I know they have 3 or 4 of that they're getting ready to drop. Those are great. I want that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I like the documentary stuff, and they do it well. It's not like it's, you know, just kind of striving to get any kind of documentary. They actually do it really well. They do it 30 for 30 style, and, you know, and I guess backtracking a little bit on that, I wouldn't mind seeing a kind of 30 for 30 type thing where 30 for 30, you have the big, like 2-hour ones and like the 1-hour ones. They also have like kind of the shorter ones, especially on like if you go to, was it Hulu or Netflix or one of those things, they have like the shorter like 22-minute episodes or whatever. I wouldn't mind seeing that kind of thing, just kind of looking back at like events, or, you know, something like smaller where they go and they interview a few of the guys and just kind of go back and talk about a particular card or a particular, event that happened, or like, Ric Flair talks about the plane crash that almost like, ended his career or something, things like that, just to kind of like touch base. If you're getting the network, half the reason that you're getting it is because you like all that old stuff, or just, the memories of that type of thing. And just to see those guys talking about it. I mean, one of the better shows, as much as I kind of don't necessarily like him that much, is JBL show, when he'd kind of go back and talk to the older guys and look back on their careers and that type of thing. I mean, I dig that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it'd be nice to kind of acknowledge the past and see these guys. I mean, I dug the hell out of JBL talking to Stan Hansen. I mean, it's because, one, I'm a Hansen mark, but two, like, I mean, so is JBL. So he got to interview this guy who obviously influenced his career a great deal. And, they tell the stories, and a lot of these wrestlers are great storytellers just on their own. And if you just give them the opportunity to talk for 20 to 30 minutes, they're going to make for interesting TV. And you don't have to have it, each week necessarily, but once a month or whatever, something drops. I mean, like Table for Three, that's almost always a good show, depending, I guess, on who they get on there. But
right.
But yeah, I would like to see more content, any kind of content. It doesn't necessarily have to be, something completely new each time. And I think that's what they want to do. What they're trying to do is they're trying to be like, here's a new program we have, and here's another new program we have, and not just kind of focus on like extending the episodes of certain shows.
I understand the get new is to bring back old subscribers and for current subscribers to be like, oh, there's this new thing, but like, finish what you're doing. Instead
of just like, okay, well, this month we've had, just a couple more episodes of Primetime Wrestling, and that's it.
Yeah.
I'm paying $9.99 pretty much for the ability to go back and look at old stuff again and watch like Bash at the Beach 1996 if I want to, and watch whatever the pay-per-view that I wouldn't actually pay full price for. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on to talk about all the tournaments that are happening this summer. I cannot talk this evening.
Happening. Pineapple apple pen.
Pineapple apple pen. So we know about the women's tournament, Q3. So that'll be summer for WWE. That'll be fun.
That'll be Summer Rae.
She's gonna win it. Could you imagine? Let's just stop for a second and picture a world where Summer Rae wins a tournament.
I like Summer.
I do too. What culture has the World Cup going on? They're still doing other qualifiers. They're 64-man tournament or whatever. Best of the Super Juniors starts next week, this coming week.
Yee.
I know. The G1 starts in July. That doesn't get a yee out of Tom.
Sorry, I did it once already. I mean,
okay.
Well, it's an extended yee because G1's long.
Yeah. And then my personal favorite annual tournament from Progress Wrestling, the Super Strong Style 16 2017, is coming up in July. And that's exciting. Tournaments are great.
Tournaments are easy to like just because, I mean, it's one of the easiest ways to tell a story. It's a built-in story. Like, you could have 16 people and none of them have necessarily any chemistry or anything going with each other. You just put in these random people. But as the things build along, you have your win and you have your win. Then there's the story. I mean, we're going through hockey and basketball playoffs right now. That's what a tournament is. I mean, it's wrestling's version of the playoffs.
Yeah.
And it generally happens in one night.
Yeah.
Depending on how big the tournament is. I mean, you're not going to have a 64-person tournament in one day.
No.
That would kill people.
I think they're great because you can expose a lot of talent very quickly, make them all look very good, so you can make your roster look real strong while building potential new feuds, having old feuds come to a head over the course of the tournament. You can expose new talent as well, and if you give them a good run, it's going to get them some interest. Because, I mean, it's not like, I mean, you get to structure it. It's predetermined. So if you do it right, everybody's going to come out of this looking like $1 million.
Yeah, and I mean, and sometimes, like, you get the unexpected stuff out of it, but I mean, look at King of the Ring. I mean, King of the Ring made Austin. And yes, we can say up and down that Austin eventually would have gotten there. And, you know, that's possible, but we've also seen WWF/WWE drop the ball on can't miss people before. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, they had Austin for a period of time, and he was doing nothing. It was just sitting there, festering with his $1 million title, the Ringmaster, and he went through the King of the Ring and did that, cut his promo, and the rest was money, money, money. So, I mean, when you have the King of the Ring or you have a tournament, like you said, you have the ability to take a lesser-known wrestler or somebody who hasn't gotten a push lately and give them a win or two without necessarily having to have them win the tournament. But, I mean, you'd have somebody say, like a Heath Slater that turns around and wins a couple of matches. You're like, oh, maybe I should be paying a little more attention to Heath Slater. Or you have, you know, just like, I can remember back when I was a little itty-bitty work rate, they had this thing. It was like the first big tournament kind of event that, like, I think it was actually their first pay-per-view, WWF's first pay-per-view. It was called the Wrestling Classic. Yeah. And I remember getting that on video, giant VHS tape. And I thought it was so cool because you had this tournament and you had, like, the Dynamite Kid wrestling singles matches and, like, bad guys facing bad guys and good guys facing good guys. And it was just like, oh, this is different. This is something that you don't necessarily see every day. And, like, where there was such a structure to how wrestling was at that point, you had your top tier guys that would beat the middle tier guys, that would beat the lower tier guys, that would beat the jobbers. That was just how it was. But when you had tournaments, you had two mid-tier guys facing each other. It's like, ooh, well, I actually don't know who's going to win this, especially if you're having bad guys face bad guys. Like, okay, well, the good guy isn't going to win the first match, and then the bad guy win the second match because the good guy has to face the bad guy. No, you're going to have, like, when you had, like, say, Randy Savage taking on, I'm just trying to think of, like, another bad guy. But it's like saying Randy Savage take on, like, One Man Gang or something like that. It's like, oh, crap, who do I cheer for either one of them? Or, you know, it was entertaining to watch. And it's really easy to get behind a tournament.
Yep. You summarized that perfectly.
Yeah, okay. Good night, everyone.
And we're done. No, we're not done. We have to tell them about Patreon, Tom.
Patreon. So,
Patreon.
When you go to cheatersneverpin.com and you've already purchased your Amazon purchases, maybe you think, you know, I've got $1 or $2 left over. What's $1 or $2 a month? Really? I mean, you know,
I saved so much money on Amazon, I don't know what to do with all this money.
Yeah, I mean, that $50 retail thing that you purchased for $20, you've got $30 sitting in your pocket. what's $1 of that, really?
Or all 30. I'll take all 30.
I mean, yeah, all 30 if you're extravagant and want to drop lots of cash to the Section 328 Cheaters Never Pin crew. But if you go click on the button next to the Amazon.com button, which is the Patreon button, it takes you to the Section 328 Patreon page. Section 328 being the umbrella group that brings together both Cheaters Never Pin, myself and JC, also Derek and Mike of the Section 328 Cheaters Never Win podcast,
Yes.
and the fine gentleman and lady, we have ladies writing for us as well, for the 328 website, and by contributing on the Patreon page $1 or $2 a month, you can help us to pay the expenses for the podcasting equipment that we use, the hosting fees, along with the various other expenses that we go through.
Booze.
Yeah, booze. But every little bit helps, and I mean, outside of that, not to be greedy or anything like that, but honestly, just to see that somebody would actually pay $1 a month, that makes me feel good.
We got kids. We need this job. Tom has
Yeah.
kids. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, and I'd be willing to share mine. You can borrow one if you want to, but
For $3 a month on Patreon, you can borrow Tom's children.
yeah, I mean, for $5 you get to pick which one.
Ooh.
No, that valid, not that offer not valid. But in general, just I mean, if you enjoy what we do here, if you enjoy what the boys at the Section 328 Cheaters Never Win podcast do, consider just contributing $1 or $2 a month with our Patreon. And again, it makes us feel good. And again, the money just goes back. It doesn't go into our pockets. It goes back into the podcast. It goes back into the website hosting. It goes back into the expenses that a lot of us are paying out of pocket. So every little bit helps.
I'll make a deal too. And I'm making this on behalf of both of us, Tom.
Okay, we haven't discussed this in the rundown.
Yep.
So, okay.
I'm telling you right now. If someone at $30 they saved on Amazon, if you go to Patreon and you donate $30 this month, it just has to be the 1 month. That's fine. Let us know that you did it with however you want to do that. And I think you can actually drop a note when you sign up on patreon.com/section328. For $30, you get to pick a pay-per-view, a document, something wrestling related, pay-per-view, documentary, movie, I don't care. Tom and I will do a live commentary episode.
Yeah, why not?
There you go. It's not a bad. That's a good one.
And it could be horrible.
I hope, and it should be. Otherwise, you're doing the gimmick wrong.
Yeah, I mean,
$30.
It's one thing for us to watch, Wrestle Kingdom and be like, oh, that was a good match. Nah, you got to break out something like horrible, like a early 90s WCW pay-per-view or...
I was thinking a 2001 WCW pay-per-view.
Don't make me watch Sid break his leg.
Yeah. So if
But
you donate
do that.
$30 this month, you get to pick what we watch. And you know what? You can watch it with us and give commentary.
Sure, why not? We'll buy you a beer.
Well, I mean, they Skype in. I'm not delivering
I'll buy
beer.
your beer and I will keep it and drink it.
There you go. $30, pick a pay-per-view, do commentary with us for a bonus episode. That would be fun.
Why not?
Yeah.
Sure.
There we go. I'll whore myself for $30. Done it for less before.
Now we've gotten to the much too personal part of the podcast.
And we'll move right on out of that and into the 10 count. You ready?
Sure.
10 count. Number 1.
10 count. 10 count. Yeah, we need theme music.
We do.
For the 10 count.
I thought of one for Match Exchange. I'll try that when we get there.
Okay.
All Number one, Brie Bella and Daniel Bryan had their beautiful baby girl, Birdie Jo Danielson, at 11:58 Tuesday night. 8 pounds, 10 ounces, 21 inches.
That's a big
and
baby.
a week late. She's a big girl.
Well, that's what when you're a week late, you end up being a little bit larger that way.
Yeah. But yay for and good for them.
Yeah.
It makes me really excited for the episode of Total Divas next season. I'm very sad it's the season finale next week.
I mean, everybody seems to be healthy, and that's great, and hopefully everything continues to stay that way. So
yeah,
that'll be the quality vegan lifestyle that child ends up living. So
well, Brie had to stop being vegan. That's why she wasn't getting pregnant. Tom, watch Total Divas for Christ's sake.
No, you can't make me.
You can. You can if you give us $30.
That's true.
Number two, OTT, which is the Top Wrestling in Ireland, which is a company that's had Finn Balor, Fergal Devitt come through and is a partner with WWE, is starting their own streaming service coming up soon. They're a good little promotion. I won't say little promotion. That sounds like I'm really underselling the hell, trying to bury the hell out of them. They're very good. Hopefully there's like a trial, or they do like, hey, sign up for a month for $1. I suggest it. They do incredible work over there.
Okay.
Yep. Number three, Jim Ross and Nigel McGuinness have announced that they will be doing the commentary on the new WWE UK show that was taped this past weekend and will drop this month on the network.
Looking forward to that. I mean, Nigel's fine, but
when he remembers where he works.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to hearing Jim Ross on commentary again. Again, doing stuff that he understands and knows, and it can get more into. And I'm assuming he was there live doing the commentary, which helps out a lot. I think I
don't think he was.
No.
Okay. I think they're doing it either in probably in Stamford, I would assume.
Yeah. Then never mind.
Yeah.
Still looking forward to hearing him, though.
Yeah, it'll be great. Number four, speaking of the UK stuff, they announced at the taping the UK title will be defended at TakeOver Chicago a week from Saturday. Pete Dunne will challenge Tyler Bate. And that'll be great.
Well, he should.
Yes. I'm interested to see if they do a title change. I can't imagine that they will, since they filmed all this TV, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I could see it being a tight match. I think it really depends on how much TV is done and that type of thing, because like it really hasn't been that much done with the UK belt so far. So, I mean, it all depends on what kind of comes out of that. And they put the belt on Bate. I think they want to continue to allow him to defend it a couple of times before eventually switching the belt to somebody else. But
yeah,
I've been wrong before.
Number five, Kairi Hojo officially announced she's leaving Stardom, presumably to get to the PC, to the Performance Center, in time to get ready for the women's tournament. Joining Io Shirai and Nixon Newell as the three biggest names that'll be down there training right now.
Newell.
Yeah,
I'm very excited.
Yep. Number six, Kazuchika Okada and Kenny Omega is officially set for Dominion, New Japan's second biggest show of the year, coming up later this month, I think, or beginning of June. I'm not sure the exact date. But they get added to the card with Naito and Tanahashi fighting for the Intercontinental title, Minoru Suzuki and Hiroki Goto in the open weight match, which is a lumberjack match, which is exciting. War Machine and Guerrillas of Destiny for the IWGP heavyweight tag titles, Roppongi Vice and the Young Bucks for the junior heavyweight tag titles, and Mike Elgin versus Cody.
Ooh.
Yeah. We talked about this before. He asked for someone bigger. He got it.
Elgin is bigger than most.
So that'll be fun. That'll be a fun card.
I was gonna say that just sounds like a fun card.
Yeah.
Does Kenny have a chance?
I could see him winning it because then potentially he could come to G1 special in America as champion. I could see it happening.
I don't know.
I could see them switching the title here too, and then throwing it right back and having that's right before the G1, so I could see them doing that maybe, and then having Okada win the G1. I'd prefer for him to get the win in the Tokyo Dome.
Yeah,
but
I just want to see the match.
Yep. Also in card news and upcoming shows, number 7, Ring of Honor War of the Worlds pay-per-view from the Hammerstein Ballroom in New York is, by the time you hear this, tonight, Friday night. Really good card for the show. I'm quite looking forward to it. I will watch. 4-corner survival match between Kushida, Dalton Castle, Bobby Fish, and Silas Young. That's a solid start to the night. Kazarian versus Hangman Page. That'll be good. Non-title triple threat between War Machine, Evil and Sonata of Los Ingobernables, and Search and Destroy. It'll be Gresham and Sabin in the ring. Will Ospreay versus Jay White. Then in a battle of chaos versus Bullet Club, Tanahashi versus Adam Cole, baby. That's worth the price of admission.
Yeah.
Ring of Honor 6-man tag team championships are on the line. Chaos, which will be Goto and Vice, will be challenging Bully Ray and the Briscoes. The Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships are being defended. The Young Bucks versus Los Ingobernables, so it'll be Naito and Bushi. And then the TV Championships on the line, Marty Scurll versus Matt Sydal, which should be one hell of a match. And then the Ring of Honor World Championships on the line in a triple threat, Chris Daniels versus Cody versus Jay Lethal. Which ought to be awesome. And it's a good opportunity to see if Cody's ready for something that big.
I don't want to see Chris Daniels lose the belt yet.
It's time. He doesn't need to hold it. He doesn't need to hold it any longer.
I know, but I don't want to see him lose the belt.
Yeah, I feel the same way, but it's time.
Yeah,
from a booking standpoint. Number 8, Emma's injured again. She hurt her shoulder on the European tour. She's coming back to America, or has come back to America for tests. No word on that at this point.
That just sucks for her. I mean, yeah. I mean, she's been injured before, and then the whole Emelina thing, and then kind of all the momentum that she had going for her. I mean, when they brought her and Dana Brooke up as that kind of duo that and they worked really well together in that just kind of mean girls group that they were, and just her getting hurt, and then Dana getting packaged with Charlotte, and Dana being exposed to being not ready, and then just it really screwed over both of them. And now Emma's finally back, and it looked like she had a little momentum going, and who knows what's going to happen now.
Yep. Number 9, UK tryouts happened for WWE this week while they were at the O2 Arena filming Raw and SmackDown. Names that I know that a lot of people probably don't, because they don't follow UK wrestling like I do, which sounded really elitist when I said that right now. I apologize.
A little bit.
Jern Simmons, Flash Morgan Webster, Chris Brooks, Travis Banks, and TK Cooper were there. So those would be kind of the biggest stars that were there, which is really exciting.
But those are guys that you would know as a listener because you're not JC.
Right. You're not as good as I am. Then in number 10, ending in traditional fashion.
Who died, JC?
Grand Apache. I'm sorry. Was a member of AAA. Has trained. I'm just kind of reading through this bio real fast. Was an undercard fixture there. Yep. He wrestled as late as December. So yeah, but long time apparently I was gonna say apparently it's a big deal, but
Yeah, I'm not particularly familiar with his work, but
I'm not at all. But I found a death, and it was number 10 was open.
Yeah.
Yep. So Godspeed, Grand Apache. All right, you ready? You ready for the best part of the show? You gonna hear my opening?
Okay.
All right. It's time for the match exchange.
I was hoping there was an explosion. I was going to make an explosion sound, but you had already prepped one.
Dude, I hope the mic picked it up all right. I just played it on my phone.
Yeah, it probably didn't, but I heard it.
Well, there was an explosion there. If you donate $45 on Patreon, Tom will make the noise next week.
I may literally blow something up.
Ooh. All right. You said you took way more notes than I did. So I'm going to let you go first and talk about your experience watching Vampiro versus Pentagon Jr. in a Cero Miedo match from Ultima Lucha 1 and Lucha Underground.
Okay, so Lucha Underground's been kind of back and forth with me. It's like I tried to get into it and I watched it a little bit. It's like, oh, it's good. And then it gets all dark and it gets weird with the vignettes and stuff. And I kind of fall off of it and then I come back to it. So I didn't have full backstory going into this. And one of the unfortunate things I think with Lucha Underground is you kind of need backstory because everything has this it's very soap opera like. So everything's kind of this continuing plot line. And you've got Pentagon Jr., who's just, general evil guy with the mask and the evil eyes or whatever. Vampiro being the former color commentator, former lucha wrestler, who comes down to ringside as like this psycho Catholic bishop get up. And it's like, all right, we're into something here. And Vampiro has always been a little bit out there. I mean, I remember his stuff from AAA. I remember his WCW run. And what's funny is they start doing, and I can't remember who the commentary dude is for. Is it Matt Stryker or is it? Okay, so Stryker's like pushing the fact that like Vampiro shouldn't be wrestling, and he keeps calling Vampiro Ian. Like we're going shoot territory here.
Stryker's known to do that, and it annoys the piss out of me.
So, Pentagon gives no shits and grabs a chair, and they start fighting in the crowd and just like, general brawling, that type of thing. And he pulls up the mats. We drop Vampiro on the floor because without that protective mat, you're dead already. And again, Stryker's just pointing out the fact that Vampiro had to retire. Like, his neck, one bad shot in his neck and he could be in a wheelchair. And Pentagon's like just going all out. No fucks are given. He's throwing chairs at Vampiro, who's like crumpled in a ball on the ground.
And it's important to note that these are not the quote unquote steel chairs. These are like heavy wooden chairs that they use in Lucha Underground.
So, and he's not like slamming him with the chair. There's like a chair on him and he's just throwing literal chairs at him. So the ref jumps in and like takes one of the chairs away from Pentagon, goes over, looks at Vampiro, throws the X up. So the match is over, obviously, because they'd never throw the X up in an angle.
Never.
For those of you not completely knowledgeable of the inside workings of wrestling, when the referee throws the X up, that is the sign to the back that there is a legitimate injury and the match must be stopped. We're breaking kayfabe and saying, no, this guy's really hurt. He's not faking it on the side. This isn't part of the act. We need help down here immediately. So referee throws the X up. Now, we're only 5 minutes into the match. The X is thrown up. Obviously, the match is over. So the stretcher comes out. Pentagon's still hammering him, by the way. He cares of no X. So Pentagon continues to hammer him on. So the stretcher comes out. The gurney comes out. He gets almost to the ambulance or whatever, but no. Vampiro has his fighting spirit and no sells pretty much the stretcher job, comes back, throws a leg lariat at Pentagon. Now, mind you, Pentagon, who's hit Vampiro, who is practically crippled and neck problems and all those things, he hits him with one leg lariat and Pentagon's dead. And Vamp comes back and now he's got thumbtacks. Because of course he does. Dumps out the thumbtacks onto the mat. Picks up Pentagon, gives him a body slam onto the thumbtacks, which he sells like it's death. Then Vamp, again, you've accomplished two moves here. Goes up to the top and misses the flying nothing and falls directly onto the tacks and lets out a huge F-bomb, which was bleeped out, but so Pentagon goes looking for another weapon, and since we've already gone to thumbtacks, apparently this is a CZW match and Ian Rodden's here somewhere, or it's an IWA match and Ian Rodden's here, because now we have fluorescent bulbs. Pentagon, who is apparently trying out for the Seattle Mariners, proceeds to hit a home run on Vampiro's head, causing the bulbs to explode. And mind you, if you've never seen a match where fluorescent bulbs are used, it's cool as shit to look at. It's horribly dangerous, and I hate seeing them used, but whatever. So Vampiro's got all these, and I think he caught some in his mouth too, but he's got all the marks on the side of his head because Vamp's bald. So there's blood coming from the side of his head now. And Pentagon, who's, a swell guy, of course, takes a piece of the broken fluorescent bulb and starts jamming it into the side of Vampiro's head. Because what else would you do? And then proceeds to lick his blood because Pentagon. Yes, there's more light bulbs because apparently somebody went to Home Depot. And we carefully place more light bulbs. And I actually wrote down in my notes, MOAR bulbs. So we put the bulbs into the corner. Pentagon grabs Vampiro, Irish whips him into the bulbs. Vampiro stops. Why has no one in the last 94 years of professional wrestling realized, oh shit, I can actually stop an Irish whip if I want to? He stops the Irish whip, turns around, Pentagon charges him, and Vampiro hip tosses him into the bulbs, which again, Pentagon sells like death. Mind you, Vampiro at this point is so blown up, he is practically an explosion. He's not an active wrestler anymore. He's gone through all this crap. He's exhausted. But he does the unthinkable. He grabs Pentagon's mask and proceeds to rip the crap out of it, which the entire country of Mexico gasps in horror. Because you do not tear a luchador's mask. Vampiro then proceeds to realize that he's bleeding, tastes his blood, realizes no one makes him bleed his own blood, and then takes one of the light bulbs and smashes it over Pentagon's head, busting him open, which you could have seen coming a mile away once you realized that he was ripping the mask. Because generally when you go to rip a luchador's mask, it's because you want him to bleed. They both go to the top rope. Vampiro actually hits a superplex, dropping Pentagon onto the plunder, which makes everything kind of like puff up into the air because, like, again, fluorescent bulbs just kind of have the powder or whatever it is that they have in there. Vamp then goes to the outside, proceeds to pull out a table and lighter fluid because, you know, you keep lighter fluid at ringside sometimes. Lights the table on fire, but Pentagon, who is not as hurt as you thought he was, proceeds to take Vampiro, put him through the table. Vampiro catches on fire, very much so, to the point where normally when you put someone through a flaming table, they catch on fire a little bit, but when they hit the ground, it usually kind of puts them out. Vamp's wearing loose clothing, which is never a good idea when you're being put through a flaming table. Kids, just take note of that. So he is on fire. He rolls on the mat. He is still on fire. He rolls outside of the ring. He is still on fire. Eventually, they grab like fire extinguishers and put him out, to which then Pentagon comes over and pins Vampiro. He celebrates in the ring. Vampiro goes into the ring, pretty much crawls back into the ring, still kind of calls him out. So Pentagon goes and proceeds to break his arm. I think he was breaking his arm, or does the little motion that makes it seem like he's breaking his arm, because that was his kind of thing that he did. To which Vampiro approves, because we learn that Vampiro has wanted him to do this the whole time, because that's been his master plan, because Vampiro has been Pentagon's master and bringing him to this point. And they're all like pretty much like, they didn't hug, but like Vampiro, the Pentagon then like drops to his knees and like, yeah, shows respect to Vampiro
to
and
his master.
Yeah.
So what'd you think?
It was fun for what it was. I mean, again, you know, it's kind of garbage and Vampiro really can't wrestle anymore, but it was fun for weaponry and stuff like that. I will give it 3.25.
Okay.
Again, you know, just for kind of sheer violence. Again, I love and hate fluorescent bulbs.
Yeah, me too.
And again, they look so cool, but they're so horrible. Like you can brace a lot of things. Fluorescent bulbs cut the living shit out of you. So, and not the healthiest thing to breathe in and all that type of stuff. So, but yeah, it was enjoyable in that kind of morbid way, but.
So, I have a lot less notes about Brian Pillman and Jushin Thunder Liger.
I thought you would.
Than that. It was a very good match. It told a great story of... It's like they kind of morphed the story during the match a little bit. Because to me, Pillman was very heel in the beginning. And then he softened up and turned a little bit face, while Liger was face the whole time, which Pillman wins. He wins the light heavyweight title. They embrace at the end. Funny things I noticed during this match. I love spry young Jushin Thunder Liger.
Yeah,
and you can tell he's kind of ripped, and then you look at him now and you're like, he's not ripped.
Well,
which is fine.
50 now.
Yeah, he's an old guy for a wrestler. During one of the spots, Liger gets thrown out. Pillman executes a drop kick through the second rope. And I can't remember whether it was Jesse Ventura or JR goes on this long diatribe about like, you're not really supposed to be able to make contact with the people on the outside of the ring, and how bad that is and how classless that is. I'm like, wow, how wrestling has changed.
Somewhere Bill Watts is just yelling.
Right. They're exposing the business. I love the spot where I think Liger's looking for a surfboard and he slaps Pillman's sides in order to get him to bring his arms back. More of that in wrestling now instead of just giving your arms away.
Oh, that is a total Liger thing.
Yeah.
Liger does that all the time.
I've seen that done a lot in more old school wrestling, and I'd like to see it make a comeback. Like, give your opponent a reason to bring their arms back because they know what you're trying to do. They've studied you. They've wrestled you before. Like, give them a reason. Ventura is obsessed with the Predator and keeps saying Liger looks like Predator.
By the way, did you know he was in Predator?
Milwaukee loves to chant USA. Mostly because Liger's from Japan. Also, and then my last note, because I didn't take a whole lot of notes on the act. It was standard 1992 cruiserweight match, which was very good. And like I said, I enjoyed the story of the match, but JR is amazing. This is the opening match of that show, and if you took it out of context, you'd think it was the main event because he had so much passion and energy behind everything. And the match was that good anyway. It could have been a main event. I mean,
well, it couldn't have at that time because you didn't have little guys main eventing anything.
But if it was now, that could that match could main event Raw right now, and people would be happy.
Well, I mean, a 50-year-old guy and a dead guy probably shouldn't be wrestling, but
it sounds like a Lucha Underground storyline.
It does.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. I gave it 3 3/4.
Yeah.
Because it was a very good match, even by standards back then. It wasn't like they didn't blow the roof off the place, but if 3 is good and 4 is great, it's just shy of great.
And again, this was back when this was some of my first exposure to Japanese wrestling, and I mean, the talent exchanges that they had at the time, you had Masahiro Chono coming over, and it's face Chono, so it's really weird because Chono's such a great, like, dickish heel. So it's very odd to see him back in this time when he was, like, pretty much a face that was technically sound and, like, the protege of Luthez and that type of thing. It just was kind of weird back then. But the only real Japanese wrestling that you knew of was Muda. And it was always this kind of stereotype of the mysterious stranger from the Orient doing he was always kind of a clash with whoever he wrestled, because he was either dominant or he was wrestling guys like Luger and Sting, and his matches with Sting were fine. His matches with Luger, not so much. And he could have had great matches, but he wasn't necessarily working with the right people. So when you had a guy like Liger this was Liger in his prime, and then you had Pillman in his prime, this was the type of match that you never saw. I mean, you saw guys like, and I mean, I love Brad Armstrong to death. You saw guys like Brad Armstrong and Tim Horner and doing solid mat wrestling and roll-ups and that type of thing. You didn't see the type of stuff that Pillman and Liger were doing. So, I mean, it was, again, now it's like you said, it's a good match now to just kind of look back at and be like, oh yeah, this is kind of cool to watch or whatever. But I mean, back then it was amazing. It was a great match to open up a card because it's going to get that crowd super hot.
Yeah, and it did.
And then they ended up having like Vinny Vegas matches midway through, and
then it ends with Luger and Sting.
Yeah.
So bring him down.
It's a weird card in general. Just I need to kind of sit down and just watch that whole card.
For $30, someone can make us watch it.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. All right. Well, the match I'm going to give you this week, in honor of Best of the Super Junior starting, and this being a match on the opening night on, I think let me pull up my calendar. So this would be the crack of dawn Wednesday morning our time. May 17th, live from Karukin Hall. These two have fought all around the world, and they continue their rivalry. I present to you, if you look it up on YouTube, and of course it'll be linked on the page with this episode at cheatersneverpin.com. From WCPW, from What Culture Pro Wrestling, from Stacked, which is their like weekly show. Will Ospreay versus Marty Scurll.
Ooh, okay.
I know they're two guys that you have some mild exposure to through me.
Yeah.
But I think the only time you've probably watched them extensively was when we watched Progress before Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah.
So, fun match. This match is a very standard version of the match they have with each other. But it should be a good primer because I would think that when they're on the big stage in Karukin Hall Wednesday, it will be another level above this. So that's what I have for you.
Okay. So I actually had 4 matches that, because I was kind of like brainstorming, going, well, I could do this. And each time I thought of a match, I thought of like somebody in that match in a different match. And although the match that I'm probably going to end up giving you is not connected to the other 3. Okay. So now, do you have a particular preference? Like, do you want singles versus tag? Do you want...
You give me whatever you think.
All right. So I gave you a wrestling classic, I guess, or a work rate kind of classic, where it's the high flying moves and technically sound and that type of thing.
Okay.
This next match, and it's funny because 2 of the matches of the 4 were actually on the same card. This is from Starrcade 1985.
Okay.
Which actually was held in 2 places, kind of like how WrestleMania 2 was actually held in 3 different locations. Starrcade 85 was held at the Greensboro Coliseum and the Omni in Atlanta. This particular match took place at the Omni. I'm not going to go for the Greensboro one because that would be too good of a match, I think. And I'll get back to those, I think, next week. A better match will be next week. But this match, you have the Midnight Express.
Oh, all
right. Beautiful Bobby and Loverboy Dennis Condrey. Because this is 85 and Dennis hasn't completely flaked out on the NWA yet.
Right.
Participating in an Atlanta street fight against the tag team of the Boogie Woogie Man, Jimmy Valiant, and Miss Atlanta Lively.
Sorry, did you say Miss?
I did.
Okay.
Do you want to know who Miss Atlanta Lively is, or should I let you just kind of be surprised yourself?
When you phrase it that way, now I want to be surprised.
Well, they're not actually going to tell you during the match.
Is it easily recognizable?
No.
Okay, then tell me.
Miss Atlanta Lively is actually, and don't tell anyone because I'd hate to break kayfabe, Ronnie Garvin in drag.
All right.
And it's bad drag. It's not even like, I don't even, and to this day, I don't really understand the whole Miss Atlanta Lively thing.
Okay.
Except Jimmy Valiant was crazy.
Right.
And I don't know. But this is an Atlanta street fight.
I don't know.
So there are no rules. And it's kind of a bunkhouse kind of thing. And there'll be blood. And yeah. So
okay.
It's not long. I think official bell time is only like 7 minutes. So it'll go quickly. But since it is the type of match that it is, it's going to be one of those all hell breaking loose to begin with anyway.
Right. Okay. I'm excited.
So
I feel like I need to go back and watch some NWA episodes before, like the first couple before this, to figure out what the hell is going on then.
I mean, and I tried to do a little bit of research to did Ronnie Garvin lose, like a loser leaves town match and then comes back as...
See, that's my first thought, is that's what happened. But I don't know. I'll try to find out. I'll report back in a week.
I will also note that Starrcade 85 should be noted as a pay-per-view or closed circuit or whatever you want to call it. It had 12 matches in it, and I think all but 2 have color.
Jesus. It's too much.
So, and I mean, matches that shouldn't even have color for no particular reason. Like, they got to like kind of the end of the match and are just like, oh, no one blood in this match here. Brass knucks.
All right, we got one piece of listener feedback. We got one listener question from the Twitter machine.
Yeah.
Just one. From our friend Gloria at Lord Gloria 1.
Oh boy.
Are Dean Ambrose's abs real?
I haven't felt them.
My statement is ask Tumblr. They'll let you know. All right, Tom, tell the people where they can find you on the internet.
Go to the Twitter machine at Mr. Workrate, at MR Workrate. That's it. You know the spiel by now. I don't really want to friend you on Facebook, and I got a friend request from somebody on Facebook, and I'm like, why do I know you? I have 6 mutual friends, but I don't know you, so I still haven't friended that person. So sorry, person who tried to friend me.
All right. You can find me on the Twitter machine at JCBobbitt, JCBOBBITT. You can find the show on Facebook at facebook.com/cheatersneverpin. You can give us a big blue thumbs up there. We appreciate that. It warms the cockles of my heart. If you go to at CheatersNVRPin on the Twitter, you can follow us there for any witty things we might have to say during any number of events. And I might be there tonight for War of the Worlds. Who knows? Also, rate, review, and subscribe to this fine podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, SoundCloud, YouTube, and Spreaker. And give us $30 on patreon.com/section328. And then you get to pick what we have to watch. And we'll do a bonus episode.
Sure, why not?
Yep. Amazon.com as well. Through cheatersneverpin.com. Spend your money. Give us some change. That does it for another episode. We did it again, Tom.
We did.
So until next time, until next week, we'll break down or get ready for Backlash and NXT TakeOver Chicago. That's all in a week. It's whatever. That's exciting.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll about do it. I'm JC.
I'm Tom.
And we'll catch you on the flip side.